Hey guys, it's Dave, your mortgageguy.com. And in this video, I'm going to break down why I believe Texas is the #1 state for landlords, right? Those owning rental properties. But before I do that, please subscribe to my YouTube channel to keep up with more videos like this. Now, before I start, I do have to give some information here. I personally live in the Houston area, right? And so I am biased toward Texas as being a great state to be a landlord, and I own rental properties myself, right? So this is really breaking down that I've done my homework and why I think this is such a great state to own rental properties. One, let's talk about how strong financially the major cities are in Texas, right? Houston, very strong. Dallas, very strong. San Antonio, Austin, okay? Keep in mind, you also have a large number of people coming from other states to Texas, right? The cost of homes is obviously still very affordable compared to a lot of major cities nationally, and that makes it more affordable to buy rental properties, okay? Couple stats, right? In the filming of this video, the June numbers for rent versus the previous June had gone up over 19%. Right? So you're seeing an increase in rents year over year versus maybe some more stagnant markets, right? Where it's kind of staying the same. Okay. Hedge funds and corporations are buying up about a third of available homes. Okay. Now, what does this mean? One, yes, if you want to buy rental properties, you have some competition, but it also explains and really gives you a hint here that they've done their homework, that Texas is an amazing state to buy rental properties in, right? Which makes you and should make you feel more comfortable if you want to buy one or a couple, okay? Now, keep in mind some things too is that they're buying entire neighborhoods. Some of these hedge funds, right? There's one up north in the Houston area that they bought the entire neighborhood from a builder, okay? And then some examples, they're buying it here and there properties, okay? But again, they own about a third of them, all right? So that gives you kind of an idea. Let's break down also why Texas is pro-landlord versus tenant. Number one is that there's a 3-day eviction notice, okay? Meaning if you're going to evict somebody for non-payment, you only have to give 3 days notice. There's other states and cities where it could be 30 days, 60 days, or even 90 days. Okay, this is a much more costly process for you to deal with than if you were buying in other states, right? Because you're losing rent in those 30 days, the 60 to 90, okay? There's no limit to the security deposit. Security deposit is that deposit they're giving on the lease going into it. If the client is a riskier client, bad credit, has moved around, job, doesn't have a lot of job security or whatnot, and you want to rent to them, one thing to do is to increase the security deposit. So maybe 2 months of rent as a security deposit, right? It's making it a safer chance for you to deal with, right? Versus other states, they limit, and cities, they limit how much that security deposit can be, okay? No rent control. Texas does not have rent control. This is a major factor and disadvantage some bigger cities deal with, such as New York City, right? And other major cities, is that the rent can only go up X amount percentage per year. Well, if you're buying one and rates have gone up, or properties values and prices have gone up, or the taxes have gone up, or some of the maintenance has gone up, that 3, 5, 7% rent control makes it extremely difficult to actually be profitable owning a rental property, okay? There's actually sectors of New York City where it's not even profitable for people to own properties to rent out because of the rent control has really just killed that, okay? Here's a couple other random tips just to give you a real comparison. In Seattle, you have to rent to the first person that applies, that technically qualifies. So if they qualify and their credit score is iffy or a bad payment history, you may have to rent to them or you can get in trouble, versus picking the renter that you're most comfortable with based on their situation. Okay. No fault eviction. Certain cities and states have no fault eviction, right? So in Texas, if the lease is up, the renter could renew, the landlord could renew, or nobody could renew, or somebody could choose not to, right? In these other states, you have to continue to rent it to them unless you're selling the property or doing a major rehab that does not allow them to stay in the property during that period, okay? And so that's super, super difficult. Think about this. You own a rental property. You want to sell your house and move back into that rental property that you physically own. You cannot do that because of this rule right here. Okay. In Detroit, you cannot hold a felony against somebody. That's super risky depending on what that felony was, right? You can't do it. So you have to accept them as a renter if they have a felony. Horrible, horrible idea. Chicago, you have to keep their security deposit in an interest-bearing account that you then pay out to the tenant, which is great for the tenant, but a lot more work for the landlord to even deal with, right? So it'd be a pain in the behind. And then some areas have certificate of occupancy, and some of them have multiple entities that you have to get this certificate of occupancy with, right? Some of them have two. So now you have two entities who have to come, make sure the property is okay and issue the certificate of occupancy. So those are a whole bunch of reasons why I believe and know that Texas is the #1 state for landlords. And I wanted to pass that information along to you. Call or email if you need anything. Comment down below. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. And if you find my videos helpful, I'd love to be your lender. Thanks, guys.